Hey brewers, it's Paul here, and today we're doing something a little different. We are going to pit two AIs together to see which one can come up with the best American Pale Ale recipe. ChatGPT versus Chatsonic. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ask both of these AIs to write an American Pale Ale beer recipe based on a couple parameters. And then we are gonna have two Brewzillas side by side, and we're gonna brew both of these, and then in a future video, or perhaps later in this one, I'm not sure yet, we will taste them and decide who is the winner. So let's go to my computer and get started. So we got Chatsonic loaded up and ChatGPT, and today, to make it interesting, I'm gonna ask it to use Columbus, Mosaic, and Simcoe hops, three of my favorites that we use in our APA Monday morn. Well, let's go ahead and see what they can come up with here. Let's see what ChatGPT comes up with here. 10 pounds of two-row, half pound of Crystal 40, half pound of wheat, half pound of flaked oats, quarter pound of carapils, Simcoe's bittering, couple late additions of Columbus Mosaic. It actually knows to dry hop, that's interesting. Good yeast choice with the Y-Yeast 1056. It even knows to put in some nutrient and Irish moss. We're gonna be using the Brewzilla, so I'm just gonna use our own directions. I'm not going to follow this. This is actually quite accurate. The grain bill, I probably personally wouldn't have put flaked oats, but the rest makes sense. I mean, the flaked oats aren't a bad addition, it's just not something I typically use in an American Pale Ale. The hop schedule is good. Got bittering, got a 15-minute, a 5-minute. I probably would have put these in the whirlpool, but hey. And then a decent dry hop. So I'm actually pretty impressed. That should make a pretty good recipe. Let's see what Chatsonic comes up with. I'll just paste in the exact same instructions. 10 pounds of churro, pound of Munich, pound of Crystal 40, half pound of wheat, quarter pound of carapils. That's actually pretty good. I probably would have used half a pound of Crystal 40. I like using either Munich or Vienna when I make a pale ale. We got half an ounce Simcoe at 60, half an ounce of Columbus at 30, an ounce of Mosaic at each 10 and 5 minutes, and an ounce Mosaic dry hop. It's not quite as complex on the hop schedule. I think this will also make a decent pale ale. Kind of generic American ale yeast. I like that ChatGPT specified Y-Yeast and then the American ale strain. Similar instructions. Once fermentation is finished, add the dry hop of Mosaic hops. Let it sit for 3 to 4 days. Yeah, this all looks pretty accurate. So I'm gonna print these off. We'll get our grain bills ready. We'll head over and start mashing in. 10 pounds of I haven't worked the grain room in a while. Instantly dirty coming into this room. Need to get white grain to glass shirts. All right, we got our two grain bills. Let's go mash in. Make sure there's no dough balls in here. It's looking pretty good. All right, so we're mashed in on both of these guys. I'm gonna let it sit for 10 minutes and then I'm gonna start the pumps. As for the water chemistry, we used good old Winnipeg water, treated it with Camden tablet, and then I added some Epsom salt, gypsum, calcium chloride, lactic acid to get me somewhere in the ballpark of calcium 65 parts per million, magnesium 13, sodium 29, chloride 55, and SO4 135 with a target pH of 5.42. We'll come back in 10 minutes, turn on the pump, see how it looks. So it's been 10 minutes, gonna get my sparge water ready, just putting some crushed up Camden tablets. Gonna turn on the pumps here. So it's been 10 minutes sitting, and we're gonna do 50 minutes with the pump, and then we're gonna start sparging. So we'll be back when we're ready for that. Pumps on like full bore. I'm like, is my mash stuck? It was like fucking full bore, so yes, my mash was stuck. Whoops. Okay, so what happened here is that I had the pumps going full bore. You do not want to do that when you're mashing. You want to open maybe a quarter. So what happened is all my grain compacted to the bottom of the malt pipe, and the mash was getting stuck. So we're just gonna stir it all up again and then make sure the pumps are just about a quarter of the way open. Hard as a rock on the bottom here. Noob mistake. I can't believe I did that, but it happens. All right, so we've mashed the grains for an hour. Now we're ready to sparge. Make sure our handle is in there good. And because this is a Gen 4, it's got the 2 sets of feet. I like using the first set, let it drain, and then pull it up all the way after that. I'm gonna set both of these to a boil now. All right, now we can sparge. Using our old grain father as a sparge water heater for now. Cannot find my sparge jug.
Why don't you just transfer it right out of there?
Oh, it's Camlock? Oh, sweet. Where'd we put the brewery gloves? Right here, look at that.
Dang.
Holy shit.
We're using our noodles and not
All right, so I've abandoned the search for the jug and we're gonna use this sparge arm with a really long silicone hose instead. Also why I'm wearing heat-resistant gloves. There we go. I'm just pouring that over, nothing too fancy here. So we're gonna wait for these guys to get to a boil, and in the meantime, we're gonna go grab our hops. All right, so we're at a boil. We're gonna start adding our hops. So on the Chatsonic, we are doing half an ounce of Simcoe at 60, half an ounce of Columbus at 30, and then 1 ounce of Mosaic at 10, 5 minutes, and a dry hop. So there's our first addition, and then I'll just be adding the rest to the Chatsonic and then the ChatGPT. We have an ounce of Simcoe at 60, an ounce of Columbus at 15, Mosaic at 5, and then the rest in a dry hop. So, I mean, we've seen us add hops a million times. We'll just come back when we're ready to chill and transfer to the fermenter. All right, so we're at the end of our boil. I did add Whirlfloc and yeast nutrient to both beers with around 5 minutes left in the boil. So we're gonna turn off the heating element and turn on our chilling water. Grab my drill. And just to help speed everything up, turn on the pump. That's on. Yep, that's on. It's on full blast. Then I got this handy dandy Grainfather Whirlpool / aerator. And using this, it's just gonna help chill the beer a lot quicker by having it move around the coils instead of just sitting there. So our groundwater is fairly cold. This should only take maybe 10 minutes. So we'll cut back once we're ready to transfer. All right, so we've chilled her down to about 68 Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius. I'm gonna transfer it over. Nice thing is if you're using brew buckets like this and you don't have enough hose to reach your fermenter, you can just stack them. Kind of handy feature. All right. While we're transferring, we'll chill the next batch. I had to offset the boil by a little bit. Start chilling this guy. All right, so this one's done chilling and we'll transfer it over. One thing I almost forgot to do is I have a hydrometer sample from the Chatsonic. I'm gonna do the same for this one here. We'll let them settle out a bit and we can take a look at the colors. So we have the beers transferred, I have them labeled. I decided to go with Mangrove Jack's M44 West Coast yeast. I really like this yeast for like hoppy pale ales and IPAs. I was gonna do US-05, but just figured to do this instead, a little more interesting. So these hydrometer samples are looking like American pale ales. This is the ChatGPT. A little bit lighter in color. This one just had half a pound of Crystal 40. This one had a full pound of Crystal 40 in it, so a little bit more amber. They both look good. Smells like it should. All right, so there you have it. We have the Chatsonic versus ChatGPT American Pale Ale brew off. We're gonna let these ferment for about 2 weeks, keg them up, and then we'll do a side-by-side tasting video. Which one do you guys think will turn out better? I honestly was impressed at the recipes that both the AIs came up with. I haven't brewed these before, obviously, but just glancing over the ingredients and the hop schedule, I think both are gonna turn out pretty good. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more content like this.